I just kind of explained what was going on this morning.
Yeah.
You changed the entire vibe of our entire workout and our entire building. I want to let you know that with one tweet. Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson wanted to go season-ending surgery on a broken bone in his throwing shoulder. This led to so many conversations like, wow, what, how, when? He was just playing his best ball. Did the Browns think that this was potentially coming? How long ago did they know that they could be without Deshaun Watson after winning the game in the fashion that they did on Sunday?
Well, what happened was he hurt the shoulder in the second quarter, and he stayed in the game. So he played the rest of the game, 2.5 quarters, with a fractured shoulder and a high ankle sprain. And then after the game, they ran some tests. And it was very interesting because Monday and Tuesday, there was a lot of silence. And when there's a lot of silence, when you're calling people and they're not returning calls, you get the sense that something is amiss. And obviously the news came down after he had tests and doctors were able to review the scans. It was very clear he needs surgery on that shoulder. Otherwise, he would have risked doing a lot more damage to it. So he's having the season-ending surgery. The Browns general manager, Andrew Berry, said before that Deshaun Watson was willing and able to try to play through it, but doctors said you just can't do that right now. Oh. And so he's going to have the surgery. They're figuring out when to do it. He'll be back for the start of next season, but he's gone for this season. And again, he played the remainder of that game, 2.5 quarters, completed 14 of 14 passes in the second half. With a shoulder injury that now needs surgery.
It was the best football we've seen him play too since everything pretty much. It was old school Deshaun Watson. He was running, he was throwing, he was all the way back. I assume Cleveland Browns fans were like, "Yup, here we go, now we go." Especially with that defense. This not coming out till Wednesday tells me numerous tests. Monday, a bunch of test scans. Then we did follow up, second opinion, third opinion, and everybody had all the doctors basically said, "Yeah, got to get surgery here."
That's basically the deal. And essentially they all were in agreement. And the Browns obviously wanted to wait till this morning. I'm sure they probably wanted to tell the team, assemble them this morning and give everybody the news before it came out. And so that's the situation. And now they move forward without him. And, you feel bad for the city because the Browns are 6-3. They're making a run for the playoffs. It's the first time we may see 4 teams from one division all make the playoffs. Cleveland was compelling. Had a legitimate chance to go far. Not that it can't go far now. It can, because the strength of this team is its defense, but it's not the same when you don't have your starting quarterback who you paid all that money to and gave you the best chance to win. And, with Cleveland, it's just like you can't have nice things because just when they're rolling along, this happens.
Hey, they got that Jack's Casino downtown. That place real nice. 3 stories, has a lot of winners out there. They got that beautiful view of the lake. There's a lot of nice stuff in Cleveland. But the Browns have not returned the favor to the city because of bad luck and misfortune. This feels like another page in that very long book for the Cleveland Browns. Now what's next? Darius has a question for you, Shefty.
Yeah. I saw another report come out that it's going to be DTR. It's going to be starting quarterback and not P.J. Walker. Is that true, number one, and why is that, if that's the case?
It's tracking that way, and Kevin Stefanski is going to talk to the media at 1 o'clock today. I think that's the plan. Now, whether they actually go through or not, we'll see, but I think it's going to wind up being Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and the reason is because he has been the backup for much of the season. And the last time he started in that game when Deshaun went through pregame warmups, hoping and thinking that he was going to play, only to find out about 90 minutes before the game that he wasn't going to be able to go, they didn't have the time and the energy to kind of train Dorian Thompson-Robinson, get him ready for that game the way they would like. They know this news in advance. So they now get the full week to prep him, a rookie quarterback. And I think we've seen P.J. Walker come in and do a nice job. There have been some turnovers there. Yep. And I think that they feel like the ceiling with Dorian Thompson-Robinson is higher. When he played this summer, he was very impressive. Yeah. Very impressive. He came out in that one start, though, and looked lost. But again, it was like a week without practice as a starting quarterback. It's a tough spot to put a rookie in. And I think they think that by him going through the whole week of practice, assuming it goes well, taking the reps with the one, that he would be able to start and give them a better chance to win.
Okay. Well, that also leads to this question from Ty.
Yeah, Shefty, although he didn't play great last week, it looks like it's Will Levis's job in Tennessee. Is there any chance that a guy like Tannehill, who probably knows that he's not going to be the quarterback in Tennessee moving forward, maybe asks for his release and sees a situation like this and potentially goes and signs with the Browns for kind of the stretch run here?
Or any other vets that are available.
Right.
Yeah. Well, here's the issue there. First and foremost, the Browns general manager, Andrew Berry, made it very clear this morning that they are focused on the two guys on their roster, which is Dorian Thompson-Robinson and P.J. Walker. They're going to add a third quarterback, but it sounds like it's like a practice squad addition. Now, that doesn't mean that there couldn't be another scenario. They asked him about other quarterbacks and other rosters. The issue with that is Tannehill makes a lot of money. I think he had like $13.5 million left in his contract off the top of my head, a big number. And so any veteran quarterback would have to pass through waivers. You would think that they probably would go unclaimed because the teams might not be willing to take on that contract. And then he would be free. You have to learn the whole offense. You have to pay him. You have to figure it all out. It's a lot to get through. Andrew Berry did not make it sound like that's the way they were thinking this morning. And again, with a guy like Tannehill or any other guy, they'd have to go through the waiver process first. And then who knows if somebody might be willing to claim the guy just to prevent the Browns from getting him, because the Browns will be low on the waiver order with a 6-3 record.
Interesting. I didn't even think about that. That is certainly a little chess strategery that other people could play. You know who they had on that roster?
Who's that?
Josh Dobbs.
The Pastronaut.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you could actually drop him in 1 week.
That's a shame.
And he could just learn
He's been pretty
the
good.
whole offense.
Yeah.
I want to go back to this something that's interesting, because the week before the trade deadline, there were questions about whether Deshaun was going to be able to play. And the Browns were discussing whether or not to go trade for another quarterback like, say, Jacoby Brissett. His name had been out there. And the issue that they felt at that time was that because they didn't know when Watson would be back, they felt it would be another week or two at the most. So they wouldn't be in a situation where it was worth trading for a guy, giving up a pick, and bringing him in for the remainder of the season at that point in time. But now we're past the trade deadline by a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So if the trade deadline were 2 weeks ago, now maybe you go make a move for a guy like Jacoby Brissett, who knows the offense, but we're not. So that's passed. So now you're leaning on the two guys on your roster.
Yeah, and I don't know how many picks they had to give up. I mean, remember the move they made to get Deshaun. And I hate to bring this up to Browns fans,
Sure.
$230 million, most guaranteed ever salary cap. You do what you got to do.
Of course.
And also, it's like signed, sealed, delivered for Deshaun's side. Not like Cleveland's. Like, that is a very pro.
Yeah.
Mulligetta did his thing.
Yeah,
Yes,
in
he
his
did.
Mulligetta was in his bag whenever he did that particular contract. And shout out to, hey, way to go, Mulligetta.
Good work.
We appreciate you. But the Browns gave up a lot for this entire thing. So for it to go the way it's going, especially with how he looked on Sunday, that's highest of highs. Okay, we gave up all this to get a guy. Who cares?
Yeah.
Now we have a chance to go on a run out for the rest of the season. It's a bummer. But I can't wait to see him back. Godspeed out there, pal.
It's a totally new injury, too. Like, that's the whole thing, is that he had played with the rotator cuff. He had played with the ankle. We knew that he aggravated the ankle on Sunday. The rotator cuff had been something that plagued him since week 3. So people hear the shoulder, they think it's connected, but it's totally opposite. It's a totally new injury that he sustained on Sunday in the second quarter that knocked him out. So, I mean, I have no idea if there's any connection or correlation between what he had and what he suffered, but it was a totally new injury.
Did I see those numbers right there?
Mm-hmm.
Big numbers.
Sheesh.
Buddy. New bone in his shoulder, though, for that 64 mil.
That's right.
He's going to have a little steel in there. All right, we saw on Sunday. Now he's going to have to restart the build back process, do that.
Tough.
So unlucky. Can't wait to see what they end up doing next.